Okay, so we'll cultivate our own positive intention. So we want to practice first, as I mentioned, for our own happiness, our own peace of mind. So peaceful mind, compassionate heart. And this is a beautiful title of the simple book on the Buddha Dharma that somebody wrote based on my teacher's teachings in Maine and New York. But if you just keep these two short ideas in your heart, peaceful mind, compassionate heart. So the peace is the wisdom, knowing that the mind needs to be at peace for happiness to set in. And compassion is the practice. So whatever comes up in our life, good circumstances, be kind and compassionate. Challenging circumstances, be kind and compassionate. Neutral circumstances, always be kind and compassionate. Those are the main ingredients. Sangye chodan soki choknam la jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi dagi jinso ki pe sonam ki chola penchir sangye drupar sho. Sangye chodan soki choknam la jangchu bardu dagni kyapsu chi dagi jinso ki pe sonam ki chola penchir sangye drupar sho. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I attain complete enlightenment. From merit, from giving, and the rest, in order to aid all, may I become Buddha. Samchen tamche de wa dang de wei gyudan dam part gyur chi dudnel dang dudnel ji gyudan draward gyur chi dudnel me pe de wa dam pa dan min draward gyur chi ne ring cha dang ni dang drawe tang yom champalane part gyur chi Samchen tamche de wa dang de wei gyudan dam part gyur chi dudnel dang dudnel ji gyudan draward gyur chi dudnel me pe de wa dan pa dan min draward gyur chi ne ring cha dang ni dang drawe tang yom champalane part gyur chi. How wonderful if all sentient beings had happiness and its causes. May all beings have immeasurable loving kindness. How wonderful if all sentient beings had compassion, free from every form of suffering. May all sentient beings be established in immeasurable compassion. How wonderful if all sentient beings were never separated from the root of sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings be established with immeasurable joy. How wonderful if all sentient beings were free from the poisons of ignorance, hatred, and strong, greedy desire. May all sentient beings be established in immeasurable equanimity. So let's just open with a short round of metta meditation, which is the universal loving kindness. So sitting up very tall, wherever you're sitting, in your couch, your chair, just make sure your spine is very erect. So if you're leaning back, that's good. And we're going to have a meditation after this where leaning back and closing the eyes will be good. But right now, I'd like to invite everyone to kind of sit to the edge of their chair so that their spine is very straight, so that you're really holding your body up. And this is important because it brings our full, relaxed but alert attention to the meditation. And if you're wearing glasses, you can take glasses off. You don't need your glasses for your meditation. And just to review the meditative posture. So this meditation we're going to start with calm abiding or tranquility meditation. And then we're going to go into a metta meditation, which is the universal loving kindness. And we're going to cultivate these states of mind first for oneself, because peace we all want world peace, of course we do, but we're not going to find that out in the world. We're going to find that by transforming our own mind to be so habitually accustomed, I don't think that's a word, accustomed to peace of mind with happiness, with equanimity, with joy, with a sense of humor. We have to be able to laugh at oneself, with this idea that the great perfection is the mind that's established all the time in the true nature of the reality. So we can think of how harmonious most of the physical reality works, like our planet knows how to go around the sun in the right way. It's got oxygen for us to breathe. It supports this life form that we have. our most precious gift that we have, our own human life. And so things are already quite in very beautiful, harmonious circumstances. And what we want to do is bring our inner circumstances into deep harmony so that we can remember how good everything is, that there is harmony in this world. There's a flow, there's harmony in nature. If we look at nature, there is already perfection there. So we want to bring our own mind streams in union and into great connection with this great harmony. So we're going to tune inwards first. So relax the body, relax the belly, and the hands can, if you're sitting in the chair, you can put your hands out on your knees so that your arms are straight down. I'll show my arms like this. So you can just put them out and just relax the shoulders. Let the lower body be very stable, supportive, and keep the spine very erect so that your upper head is really in a good alignment with the spine going all the way down. Now the tongue is resting on the roof of the mouth. The eyes are almost all the way closed for this for opening meditation, a little bit open. 3/4 or 2/3 of the way closed, just so you're gazing off the tip of your nose. You can't really focus on your nose, but you're letting the gaze come down in front of you and kind of dreamlike, very soft. Very soft, very fuzzy. And your inward focus now, your inward eye is going to pay attention to the breath. The breath will be the object of our meditation. Right down below our belly, right in our diaphragm, where we're going to begin by taking a deep breath in from right down below, so that we can gently sip the breath in through the nose and we can feel the belly filling up with breath. It gets bigger, expanding like a balloon as we breathe in. Everything in the body's filling up with a breath of fresh air. It's delicious, wonderful. And the first few breaths, we just breathe out through the mouth. You can just invite the physical body to relax even deeper. Can make that sound of like just letting go, of inviting the body not to hold any aspect of any kind of tension, any kind of tightness. Let's take a few more opening breaths like that, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, now we're going to shift the exhale out through the nose so that when we breathe in gently, the diaphragm's expanding. So on the in-breath, we're just thinking, we can give the mind a little task now. So we're just focusing right below the navel, maybe 4 finger lengths below the belly button. As the breath moves, we're following the movement of the body as we breathe in. It's expanding, and we just think in so that our mind has something to do. It's not jumping around to different topics. And then once we can't breathe in anymore, we gently then just breathe out and we let the breath slowly release through the nose and we just think out. Still focused on that spot down below the navel. And then after the out breath, after the exhalation, we just rest in awareness. There's stillness and we just think rest. So in, out, and rest. And as the meditation continues, you might have the thoughts still coming and going. Just that's fine. Let them go. You don't have to try to stop thinking. Just come back to the breath and let the mind just think these three words: in, out, and rest, staying single pointedly connected with the breath. So again, just check your posture a bit and come to the breath, staying connected with the process of whether you're inhaling, exhaling, or resting. And really enjoying the breath, really enjoying just settling, letting everything slow down, like kind of an internal massage. And if you want to really practice a little bit more of a level of mindfulness, try to go for the next 7 breaths. So 1 in, out, and rest is 1 breath cycle. See if you can do 7 cycles like that without losing track. So you begin now becoming more mindful by letting the first breath begin with the in, out, and then you don't give the number 1 until you are resting. And once you rest and you've completed that cycle, you say 1. And then the next breath begins in, out, rest, and then you go to 2. Now continue on with that and see if you can just follow that simple cycle up to 7 without losing track, without numbering the breath until the new breath is beginning after the resting cycle, just inviting the mind to really slow down and really just stay focused single pointedly on the breath cycle. If you lose count, just go back to the beginning and start again at 1. Just be very patient with the practice. Now, if you made it to 7 without interruption, just go into breathing without counting and without needing to use the words in, out, and rest. Just go into the breath and just keep the awareness focused on whatever is arising. You can notice if it's a particular thought. If you're drawn back to the breath and you want to stay with the breath, you can stay with the breath. But we'll just try to come into awareness of awareness now without counting and without labeling the breath. Just starting to become a little bit more aware of being centered and being present. And now from this centered, focused awareness, with our awareness really turned inward now to our presence, we'll bring in the metta loving kindness meditation, which is this universal wish for loving kindness. And we begin with ourselves. May I be at peace. And you're thinking this deeply, may I be at peace. And if you want to say it out loud, you can say it out loud. May I be happy. May I be love. May I be at peace. So you take an inhale and an exhale, and then at the beginning of the next inhale, may I be happy. Then the next inhale, may I be love. So let's go through 9 rounds. So 8 more. May I be at peace. May I be peace. May I be happy. May I be love. And we'll do that on the inhale and exhale very gently. And you can start to shift the focus from the breath to kind of the center of your chest, right above your breast, in the middle at your chest bone, at your heart center. You can focus on that spot as you're thinking or saying, may I be peace. May I be happy. May I be love. So now your next few breaths, you're really absorbing this. You're really saturating with all of your heart mind that these qualities are really your true essence, and you're really yearning for them to become your in the focal point of your awareness as you move through your whole lifetime. May I be peace. May I be happy. May I be love. Now let's extend this wish out to every living creature, every sentient being, especially the humanity. May all be at peace. May all be happy. And on the breath and the exhalation, we're sending out this wish without leaving anybody outside of this wish. We won't separate into friend, enemy, or stranger. Every living being's alike and wanting peace, wanting happiness, wanting love. So let's not discriminate our pure intention, our pure wish with that motivation to wish this genuinely for all living beings. May all be happy. And may all be love. Let's do a few more rounds like that for the universal wish. May all be peace. May all be happy. May all be love. Now bring to mind any person or group of people, any being, also could be animals. Um, Bring them to mind, and you can dedicate in your own way these three wishes in particular to beings or a particular being that needs the power of this dedication with your own intention and motivation to send that particular being peace, happiness, and love. Okay, let's come out of our calm abiding metta meditation. Gently Come back to your awareness in the room that you're in. Can move the body a little bit. Stretch in whatever way you need to. And just check in with your own heart and mind, your own awareness, and the feelings that these practices cultivated for you. This calm, abiding shamatha, tranquility meditation, and this metta, universal loving kindness meditation. How wonderful. Really, we have to bring the power of our intention and the imagination in deeply to our own awareness so that we can transform our own body, speech, and mind into these qualities of peace, of happiness, and of love. This is the way that world peace will come to the planet. It will only come one by one. It won't happen from outside. It happens from within. So the more we go inward and we cultivate these qualities, this is why in our practice in Buddhism, we call it our practice. We practice these qualities every breath we take throughout the day. We keep in mind everything's changeable. It's not solid. It's not in the nature of not being able to change, so that therefore we can make transformation. Everything's in the nature of change, therefore we can change our mind. We do have free will. How do I know we have free will? Because you can take any kind of example of any being that became a Buddha, saying that the being that was Siddhartha, who was born as Siddhartha Gautama, his name at birth, he later attained a state of quality of being that became Buddha, which was fully awakened. So throughout his lifetime, he did practice and train to attain a great insight that had never been attained before. If things couldn't change, we would still be infants, or we wouldn't even able to be born because we would be just existing as cosmic dust somewhere. We wouldn't take shape. We wouldn't have evolutionary growth through our body, speech, and mind if we couldn't change. So what we make as a conscious choice to practice in this life really is deeply impactful to our own happiness. We must continue to turn inward to cultivate the positive qualities of mind, radiate positivity within ourselves. Therefore, we become immune to being affected by what is happening in somebody else's mind, what's coming out of somebody else's mouth, what somebody else is choosing to do with their bodily actions. Of course, we're cultivating our own practice because we want to create positivity and virtue. But we cannot change others. We know that. We can only change one person in this whole wide world. And that's not someone out there. That's this one. And by doing these practices, this is how we change. This is how we transform. This is how we get peace of mind. We give up too much listening to blah, 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 yada, 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 the politics, that's distraction. Little bit, we have to stay informed, a little bit. We give up too much fear and anxiety about the climate change. We can stay aware. What are our habits doing? Are we having a beneficial light footprint on this planet, keeping ourselves with simplicity so that we're not creating harm, we're not becoming mindless and just taking things for granted? Of course, we can do that, but we don't have to have fear about the climate and the weather changing. The planet's in the nature of change, but it will be okay. If things couldn't change, we couldn't be here to be on this wonderful journey of life. We couldn't be on the wonderful journey of transforming our minds to immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable happiness, immeasurable joy, immeasurable compassion. So this is fantastic that things change. Don't be afraid of change. And don't feel intimidated by it, like, oh, I'm so distracted, I can never change my mind, or why haven't I made these changes yet? Don't have thoughts like that. Those aren't beneficial. Think positively. How wonderful. I have a precious human life. It's precious because I want to use it to transform into virtue. I've connected now with this teaching of the Buddha. I'm listening to this Buddhist nun. She's giving me some quality information that's helping me transform my own heart and mind, which is the only person that can do it. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas cannot open up our hearts and minds and put their enlightenment inside of us. We ourselves have to do that transformative work, but that's wonderful. It's fantastic that we're mature beings that can choose to take on this kind of a responsibility. That's fantastic. That's truly good news. So this is what we need to listen to. We need to listen to our positivity, our true capacity. We have a Buddha nature. Even if you're not Buddhist, you have awareness, and you have awareness of awareness, and you have capacity to reason and think rationally, analytically. Is this something beneficial for me? Should I continue to do it? Why do I want to continue to do it? Because it is good for me. Simple. This is much more important than worrying much about how many sips of water you're taking or how many steps of walking you're taking through the day. Really, truly, darlings. I mean, those things, our health is important on the physical level, but if we don't have peace of mind, we could be the greatest athlete in the world and we're still disturbed. You know, many athletes who are in great shape, they're not at peace with themselves. They're drinking, they're drugging, they have lots of money, they have everything we might consider to be the good life, but if they're not at peace of mind, then, you know, no point. So stay in shape, take care of the body, eat good food, get enough rest and sleep, but really the meditation and coming back to that awareness of our mind, these other things should support our inner practice because this inner transformation is going to make those other things very easy to do. Then it becomes very easy to take the sips of water that you need or to take a walk and to eat some healthy food. But these things are secondary really to primarily wanting to have stability and peace of mind. Does that make sense? If you don't agree with me, let's debate. Being a little cheeky, but no, I'm serious. Let's have some Q&A before we do our heart closing meditation. Anyone have a question or a comment or a theme that I should touch upon? Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Aileen.
Um, so this was the thought before I came tonight, uh, and then you touched on it, and it's something that I've pondered for a while, through my studies. But um, I know that that I have stuff in my past that um, will be triggered and come up uh, and really affect my actions at some point. Um, or at any rate. And when I read, when I meditate, I think, oh, all I have to do is be here now. But that stuff still comes up, and it's still like can, even after all these years, can still um, stir things up. So,
So what's your question?
Joe, so what's my question? So the question is, well, you had said a little bit earlier, just don't think about the past, or whatever. You said something to that effect of just, you're right here. So how do you do that?
Okay, good. That's a good question. I'm glad that you got to your question.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. What I want to encourage all of us to do is to try to really sharpen our question because that's going to help us the most. So I have one nun teacher from Australia who's Venerable Robina. She's very sharp mind. Her mind is very quick and brilliant, but her way can be very strict sometimes. And she was very good at saying, sorry, that's just notice for our next meditation, but it's not important. We'll go into this first. She's very good at saying, please know what your question is. Think very sharply what your question is. So your question is the teacher saying, just let yourself come back to the breath and be with the breath and stay focused in this moment, here and now. But stuff keeps coming up from the past. And when I'm going through my daily life, I notice there are habits that come back up from my past habits. And I've been practicing my Buddhist practice. So why does that keep happening? Good. But what I'll say first to you, Eileen, and to all of us is good to be aware of what's going on, firstly, because that is being aware just in the moment of what's going on. Even though that habit isn't particularly, maybe that situation isn't what you're in, you're noticing that your mind is needing to let that release. It's still such a deep impression. It left a deep impression. We all have things that happen in life that leave deep impressions upon our minds that we have to look at, and we have to just be curious, and that's where compassion comes in. We don't have to stuff them down. We don't have to push them away. We just have to, we can be curious and say, there's that again. Okay, welcome. It's not happening right now. I'm aware that it's not happening right now. Do you have a message for me? And it might just be, can you just love me even though this is still here? Can you just love whatever it is, or maybe love is too strong, allow it with awareness, and then look at its nature. Then you can look more deeply into emptiness because it's not going on right now. Somebody's not, let me use an example from my life. Somebody's not yelling at me right now. Somebody's not attacking me right now. So do I have to feel triggered if I see a violent scene on a movie or something like that, or I hear somebody using harsh speech because I don't like to hear harsh speech. But I taught in high school in Hawaii, so I heard harsh speech. I didn't like it, but it wasn't triggering me. I had to find a way to handle it. So things come up because we're in environments that we know automatically. Often what comes up are not healthy situations that we've lived through. Some people have been in very dangerous situations as women or as girls that are really unhealthy sexually. Some have been in violent households and have seen domestic abuse and violence. Some people have been robbed and have felt really threatened because they were held up with a weapon. So of course, whatever these habits are that come up that make us feel, oh, this isn't happening right now. Why is my mind bringing it up? It's because it was such a deeply impactful experience that it's hard for the mind to let go of that because it's not the way things should be. Like we tend to hold on to things that feel threatening to us because we know on a deep level, this is not good. This is not healthy. And sometimes it's a warning to remember, don't let yourself go back into that environment. If that starts to come up, look at that. Don't allow it. And other times it's just compassion. Oh, just like me, I'm not the only one that lived through such a situation. So instead of clinging to it like with the ego, why did that happen to me? Or why am I thinking about this now? You could just turn it around and say, anyone who's experiencing this situation right now in the world, I send out Om Mani Padme Hum. I send out compassion. I know that they don't want that. And I'm going to think more about others who are going through this right now. And often that helps that pattern to dissolve. The more we can think about others and use our own experience to transform those habits, it could be something emotionally, mentally that's coming up, like, a thought that you mentioned, Eileen, could be a physical habit. Could be a smoking habit. It could be a drinking habit. Could be a picking the nose habit. It could be an eating at midnight habit. We have a lot of habits. We don't have to pretend we don't have them. We just do, and we're doing our best with them. But what we can do with our practice is we can start to look at these habits and say, I'm curious. I wonder what that's about. And so some we can get a sense of the nature of them right away. Some have a nature of anger, some have a nature of fear, some have a nature of craving, like the midnight little ice cream run or whatever we do. Some have the nature of anxiety, of uncertainty. And so maybe we pick our nails or pick our nose or scratch our head. Like there's definitely physical habits people have that are around anxiety. And we can have compassion, not only that it's just our habit. This is humanity's way of trying to handle stress, trying to handle uncertainty, trying to handle ignorance, trying to handle unpredictability, trying to handle the complexity of being alive. But don't look too much as a judgment or why does it keep happening? Try to transform it and think it's not only my habit. I can transform this by being compassionate when it comes up to what it's bringing up, and then wishing that all beings would be free of that. And you will change that habit. I know that you will. We've all changed habits already. When I was younger, in my early years, in my 20s, I was a wild child, really. I mean, I was quite serious with my work, but I like to have a good time. And then when I was 30, my niece was born, and I decided no more of this. I want to become a responsible human being, and I want to become an adult that can be someone present in this young baby's life that is always and only there for her whenever she needs me. Not that she needs to have me always there, but I want that presence in my life changed something for me because I thought, well, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to drink. I don't want to use bad language. I thought everything I'd want to be as a good human being, as an adult in my new little baby niece's life, I should cultivate those qualities. And I should keep going to the best of my ability for her benefit. And if she hadn't shown up, I don't know if I would have been able to make all those good changes. But luckily she did show up. And we need others to think about. And I think about my those beautiful young people sitting there in Abby's screen like that. I met some of them in college, and I think I want to be someone for their generation who's there for them. Not because I want them to become Buddhist, but I want them to feel that they have positive qualities, that they can cultivate these changes to become happy, healthy, sane human beings, because we all need that, but we need each other to remind ourselves of this. We need to see the goodness of these qualities in each other. And so whether it's the younger generation, they need older generation that they can ask if they can feel vulnerable and trusting, hey, can you help me? I'm having a difficult situation. And they need people who aren't necessarily their parents to ask. So we can cultivate through our own experience and our own humility to see how we've worked on transforming some of our own habits. And then we think, well, wonderful that I could just be a humble, simple human being who's able to look at my mind and make changes. That's fantastic. So we don't have to worry about stopping the mind bringing up our experiences. But when those experiences do come up and we want to stay present and focused, we can allow them that space with compassion and then with the wisdom to know they don't exist anywhere, really. That like I by that time in my 30s, from my mid 20s to my 30s in college, I was very quite serious. I was an athlete, a scholar. And then I had my little blip of some time in my 20s of doing, working hard and partying hard and discoing and that was all good. And then it was like, that's enough of that. I'm not going to deny that now just because I'm a nun. I mean, obviously, I'm not doing those things anymore as a nun, but I'm glad that I had the experience because I learned from it. And I'm glad for many things that I learned from, that that's how we learn what is good for us to continue and evolve with and what we're going to give up. And yes, we've had situations we've lived through, and sometimes we still have habits that are still letting go, but we will let go of them. They will transform. That's why we take that calm, breathing in peace, becoming peace, breathing out the peace, breathing in the happiness, breathing out the happiness, breathing in the love, breathing out the love. And in between, if you're having a hard time actually feeling those things, you can sometimes bring to mind what makes you connect more with peace, connect more with happiness, connect more with love. It can be a pet, it can be a special place you think of, it can be a special person, it can be your spiritual teacher. Whoever brings you into that state of mind, you can use that. Thank you for that, Eileen. That was really helpful. I hope you got something from the answer. Good. Anybody else? in the last moments that we have? A thought, a question, or comment? Well, I'll leave us all with this. We're not getting to our other meditation, but I'll try to put a link to it. Thank you, Heidi, for reminding me to record. I haven't figured out yet how to post the recordings on the YouTube, but it will come. I'm meeting with my web person this week, my social media person. She knows how to do all these things. But I would like us all this week to think about carefully who makes us feel like we can become a better person? Who really helps us guide to believe that we can transform? I mean, obviously, you know who it is for me because this is my path, and this is who I always go back to. My spiritual teachers, some of my nun friends, my monk friends, the Buddha himself, and that this human being became evolved from a human being into a Buddha. So that's my inspiration. But who for each of us might in our daily life right now or who we've met help us believe that we can really exceed what our expectations, maybe we're too limiting in what we think we can do. Yes, Heidi, thank you for your hand. Go ahead.
I'm thinking of the Pope right now because he's in very rough shape right now and he needs prayers for his health and he's been very supportive to the Dalai Lama.
Yep,
So
I've been praying Om Mani Padme Hum for him every day since I read that he was hospitalized. So yeah, we definitely should pray for any beings who are like the Pope or the Dalai Lama or anyone you know who you really find as being very peaceful and very present for humanity at this point. We need every good heart we can get. So that's yes, that's a good example of how we can also send our thoughts out to others with a very genuine loving kindness wish for their continued health and happiness. And we can think about other life situations in parts of the world that are undergoing natural disasters like those fires that happened in California or the Middle East, the war or Ukraine, and think how nobody wants war, nobody wants natural disasters, and we can just have a genuine overall compassion. May all beings have peace and happiness. May they all feel love, especially those who are in very hard circumstances right now. That's kind of like our opportunity, having peaceful circumstances ourselves, having good environments to live in, that we can send out this positivity and intention to all of our other dear ones around the planet indiscriminately, especially the politicians, especially the world leaders right now. They're quite confused. So our lives are going to be impacted by every other little thing that's happening on the planet. So not taking sides, but holding a very equanimitous, equal wish that all beings are just like myself, wanting happiness, not wanting suffering. May we all have happiness. May we all be free from suffering. These are very powerful intentions and practices, especially right now, to be doing. And please, yes, keep going as often as you can to cultivate these practices because they really will, whether or not they can change the entire world, we'll have to see. But I'm sure one by one, they do change our life experience and they do change and influence the environments we move into throughout our week, the people we come into contact with, the house and community that we're living with, the people we go to work with. This attitude, our inner attitude, does definitely impact who we connect with in the environment. So thank you all for joining us this evening. Lovely to see everyone, sit with you all. I'm going to dedicate our merits. Um, Gangriwa we korwe shinkam dear pendang dewa malu changwe ne chenrezi wan tenzin gyatsoe shapezi te bardu ten gyur chig In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. In particular, I pray for the one who knows all the scriptures with the power of his intelligence, to have a long life through the solid strength of his mind and his mastery of life, in order to benefit the teachings and all beings through his good, wholehearted resolve. May Holy Paul Singye Rinpoche's highest noble aspirations come to manifest, as well as Chi Suring Pamode. In particular, we pray for the Pope that he may be healed and that his holy aspirations for the benefit of his Catholic community as well as worldwide for all humanity may continue to be a beacon of light and compassion in this suffering world. May all beings be free of suffering and be established in sorrowless bliss, and may the Buddha's Dharma long remain until samsara is emptied. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being, without exception, in that state. Bodhi mind, precious and sublime. So the Bodhi mind is what we are cultivating with this beautiful, great, great compassion. So selfless compassion, the mind of awakening, great affection for oneself and for all beings equally. May that mind arise where it has not yet arisen, and where it has arisen, may it flourish and grow forevermore. Thank you, everybody. Wish you a beautiful week. Nice to sit with you. Nice to see you all. And on this Friday, we have the Tibetan New Year called Losar. So we're entering into a very auspicious time of practice. And what we can do for the rest of the week is think about any habits we'd like to purify. So any kind of old thoughts or things that come up that we would like to have not come up anymore, we can invite ourselves to kind of purify through just saying Om Mani Padme Hum with compassion. When we think about habits we'd like to change, Om Mani Padme Hum, and we dedicate for all other beings who might also have that same habit, and just feel that they can transform, they can release. I know that they can, because habits, not everybody has the same habits. So they're not part of who we are as human beings. They're just old things that have happened, like not this life, probably many lifetimes, but even if you think of just this one lifetime, that we're able to think about, we can change, we can transform. So feel confident, feel strong, carry on. Hope to see you next time. You can unmute and say hello and goodbye and whatever you'd like to say.
Thank you, Tenzin.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Tasha Dele.
Ashidele, lovely to see everybody.
Love you.
Thank you
Thank you.
much.
All love to you too. I
Thank
hope
you.
your head's healing. Nice to see you, Amy. Hope your head's feeling better, Barry. You're healing.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Heidi, for the reminder to record. I appreciate